Well, hello everybody, this is Kata. This is TSdL round of 32, and we have Hayl versus ddrd. And joined by me is Wooper. Say hello.
Hello. This is a tank push mirror. I say that as if it's particularly surprising, but there's two tanks on Hayl's side and three on ddrd's side, not counting any off tanks. So I think we're going to be in for a bit of a slog, and I think the games will be decided by, because there's a very minimal debuff on both sides. It's basically just licorice and what's the word? It's licorice and predictable debuffs on both sides, really.
Sherry, that kind of stuff, yeah. So Rosin's not a great impact. I mean, she shuts down Sherry. And I mean, League on this box is probably not here to be much of a debuffer, I would guess.
No, I don't think so either. She's a faction buff for Omega and Kaiyura and I guess Epsilon. But all in all, I think it's going to be a slog. I think that just looking at these two boxes, I would actually favor. Well, the thing is, I know that Hayl builds his units to not die
super bulky.
And he also has Oldius, which is a very big boon on this map, because he just gets to push things around. I don't know if he's going to ban Hilda. I think he will want to, because that's part of his winning strategy. But it's really, I mean, Hayl's going to pick Landius first, and ddrd is going to pick Hilda first, if not banned, and then they're just going to go for assassins and stuff and see where it pans out.
I did want to mention one thing. We aren't considering Juggler a tank anymore?
No, I wouldn't.
I agree.
Like right now, he can tank, and bulky jugglers are very good at tanking, actually. I think things like Archon, for example, and Verna and Cherry will have difficulty breaking through. And I think Juggler can probably eat one hit from someone like Kaiyura, maybe even Ironblood Chancellor, depending on faction buffs, but he's not really a tank, especially because so much of his quote-unquote bulk can be dispelled away.
Yeah, and these days there are just so many dispellers. Like almost every good single target unit has a 5 buff dispel.
There's one interesting omission from both boxes.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. No Luke there. I know how well known to think Lucretia's trash.
Well, that's I mean, he has his opinions and he succeeds fine with his box. But
sure.
I think the vast majority of players find that Lucretia's flexibility is useful. But ddrd's not running Weapon either.
Yeah, that is actually really surprising too.
I'm not sure who is turtling more, but ddrd is doing a more assassin style tank push, which is a little. It might be difficult with units like Bernhardt and I mean, I think it'll still be an interesting match to see who can get through what. Omega's always a bit of a wild card, depending on whether Hayl is enchanted his units to have appropriate skill. Most people have not. Most people just go for defense at this point in time.
Unless it's like free.
Yeah, of course.
Which that's a bit too hard of a range of units to quantify there, I think.
I expect Hayl to either first ban Hilda or first ban one of the assassins he's less certain about, like Verna. And I expect ddrd to probably first ban a threat. That's my guess.
From what I see from Hayl's boxes, he has all these auras, all these tanks, and I'm sure that he's built all his units to a very bulky standard. And if anything, I think Hayl expects to be able to tank the assassins rather than, ban them. So in that case, I'm kind of leaning towards Hayl's first ban here is going to be Ironblood Chancellor, because she's
Who's Ironblood Chancellor killing?
It's not that Ironblood Chancellor is killing anything, it's that these mobility and attack buffs to these assassins are potentially going to screw up Hayl's thresholds of survivability.
I guess so. The soldier attack is always a big bonus. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, ddrd's plan, I think, is pick assassins.
Yeah.
This is a very big assassin boxes. It's like no, it's almost, it's actually no. This is a IBC is the closest you get to a pure DPS in this box.
Yes, we've got 1, 2, 3. Cherry's half assassin, Mario's half assassin, Omega's an assassin. Archon is effectively an assassin because there's Hilda is in Hayl's box. We'll see.
Yeah, and the other thing about Sherry is that even when she's not bringing Shadow Raid or anything, still her goal is to stun the tank and go kill something else anyway. So, yeah.
I literally cannot see anything that Shadow Raid Cherry kills in Hayl's box.
Yeah, exactly. Like that part.
Nothing.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
So Hilda, so he can have his push win con with Oldius if necessary, because Oldius is not a high priority ban for anyone these days.
Yeah, I mean, especially not first.
He loves his push win con. He loves it. So probably Epsilon. Yeah, Epsilon banned, not surprising. So I assumed that tank would come out after Hilda first ban. So we're banning. Well, sure. So one of Hayl's philosophies is that people don't run very many healers these days. If he thinks he can ban out healers and just go for AoE, that's something he does like to do. Although with Kayura, Florentia, Mario, and Liana still in box, I do question whether or not that's exactly what he wants to do, especially if ddrd just picks Mario here. That could be somewhat problematic, but at the same time, faction buffless Mario, I wouldn't be particularly concerned about. It's just not too concerning. It'd just be a pure healer pick.
And there's always another problem with Mariel, that her troops, like Landius brings Royal Calves, so your Mariel can't bring Highlands, because if you do, then she's not going to kill anything after she hits into the Royal Calves. So you have to.
I think if Mario's picked, then she's going to be on Redeemers, and she's basically going to be a healer with opportunistic assassination, if anything. Hard to say. There's
yeah,
very little that can actually assassinate, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, it would be Mariandil would be one of the best targets to assassinate, I guess.
If you bring Highlanders.
Yeah,
and,
that's the problem.
And Marian's on Phalanx, but that's not guaranteed either. Because she can very easily have some. Well, I guess if she's on like Sorks, then Mario just kills anyway.
But if you bring Amazons to try and counter Landius bringing Royal Calves, then you're not gonna kill the. I don't know. You might kill the Mariandil still.
I think the pick here is one of Omega, Archon, or Epsilon. Or, well, Werner is a pain in the ass, but I think Hayl's going to be going for an AoE strategy.
I really like Pepsi for ddrd here. It buffs a lot of stuff in his box. Really gives him some flexibility.
My concern is how what Pepsi's going to kill. Like, he can kill some of these units, like IBC, I guess. Yeah, we'll see.
What do you think about ddrd's bans here? Wedham, Werner, standard. Werner's really good against assassins, I think.
I think it's very standard. Honestly, if I was in ddrd's spot, the only things I would actually be afraid of now are AoE. Because everything else in Hayl's box is super passive. My next bans would absolutely be probably Jugler and Oldius. Marianne is fine, and especially with Landis' faction buff, she can actually start to do some damage. IBC's debuff is very potent now that Rosenseal is gone, but you have a lot of units that have actual oomph on your side. Werner, I guess Omega, IBC to some degree. I think Kayura, Marianne, and Sherry are actually really neutered. Even though Cherry gets a strong faction buff, there's just very little targets.
Yeah.
So if I'm Hayl, then I would mostly be threatened by Archon, Omega, and Pepsi at this point.
I'm thinking that, but at the same time, you were mentioning that Hayl likes to ban out the healers.
Yes. I think that he's going to be forced into picking a healer, or at least a sub-healer. If I was Hayl, then I think that the bans would probably be Kayura and...
Kira's good, yeah.
No? Kayura's really neutered because Hayl's box is bulky and Landis's aura is quite strong, so it's hard to say.
Not necessarily threatened by Archon. I mean, There's still potentially Hilda on the field. Landius can wall a bit.
I think, well, Archon just steals someone away once he gets a breeze, right?
Yeah. I mean, he won't be running with the buff. I mean, he usually isn't, I guess. I honestly don't know Archon's kill range that well these days.
His kill range really depends. Like, my 5-star Archon gets most kills on squishies with no faction buff against faction buffed squishies, so it's usually good enough if he has, especially with Lizardmen.
So we can probably say Mariandel will die here.
Marianne would probably not die to Lizardmen if she brings Phalanx. Marianne with Sorks or Forest Priest is absolutely dead unless she's Bracer, but I know Hayl prefers Drought here, so...
So what, like the only thing Archon's killing is IBC?
It's probably just IBC and...
maybe if Sophia's not fixed immune?
It might kill Lana if she doesn't have Redeemers off, but that's really it.
Well, if he has Bone Crusher, then it should just kill Lana, you're right.
Does Bone Crusher ignore soldier abilities? I thought it was...
Bone Crusher's a debuff.
Oh, it is a debuff, isn't it?
Yes, so he can kill Lana. I mean, if he can get through the Redeemers, which I don't think it's that difficult. IVC...
No, not with Lizardman, that should be fine.
Yeah, let's just go.
Let's see. Yeah, Liana, fine. He wants to take a healer, so now Hayl goes straight onto... he does fear Archon a little bit. Bernhardt's interesting. Bernhardt is... In my experience, Bernhardt has a lot of difficulty with what's her name? With Christiane. Like, werewolves are good and all, and removing buffs is good and all, but actually straight up killing her has not been the experience in my case, and I run a Mimir's full moon burn with pretty decent attacks, so, well,
yeah, I would say that Burns kills on tanks in the past all have one thing in common, and that's that they're green, and Burns red. So,
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like, he kills green tanks, but Christiane is not a green tank.
Yeah.
Werner seems like the pickup for ddrd here.
Let's talk about the bans first.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, ban.
He's just afraid of Archon because Breezed Archon is very difficult to deal with. It's not impacted by Sage, well, Archon pulling any squishy breaks. If there's no healing like Rose and Seal, the actual pull may break rights, although in my experience that's not often the unit you pull. Like, you often pull someone else, get the act again, and then just run in to kill a healer. But still, it can be a real pain to deal with, especially later in the game, where you can displace one of the... Well, you're never going to displace Landius, that's one thing. But you can, for example, displace Liana and then kill Liana. It is just something that will happen if you're not careful.
Yeah, I think normally Liana would be able to heal off the Rag if she had Glory of the World, but if the pull doing...
Yeah,
that would be too much.
Also Rag a bit much.
But maybe if she brought Highlands, who knows, you know?
It's hard to say, even Highlands, I think, might have an issue because Archon does have really big stats, especially in water. And
I can understand banning Kira. You picked Burn. It's not a great matchup for Burn. You don't like it.
If your plan is getting Burn, then you ban Kaiura. Because out of all these other assassins, no one else cleanly kills Burn except Werner. But that's not... We don't know that it's a Stinger Werner. It's unlikely to be one, I think.
Plus there's a Landius.
Yeah. Non-Stinger Werner against Landius Aura has to attack with 3C, because if he uses 2C, then he's in Burn's Aura range. And if it's a thick enough burn, and Hayl has a pretty thick burn, then that damage really falls really quickly.
As for ddrd, he banned out Lana and Mariandel.
I think that if his consideration is turn 12, then he wants to win on damage. He needs to get rid of the threats. Bernhardt is a potent AoE unit in his own right, though, so we shall see.
I would think you're trying to prevent that sword dance combo from screwing, which Liana does have some answers to, but it can be shaky.
I think that she's not probably not going to bring Mass Protect. I like the Werner here, but it is definitely not the only choice you could make. There's definitely other things.
Well, you have 5 assassin. Let's not consider Sherry assassin. She just isn't.
Cherry is a stunder tank, and then
yeah, if you pick Sherry here, then you do have Christian buff. So, but if you pick Sherry, I bet Hal's gonna pick like Rosin. Well, no, he doesn't have to. He can get a mass resist. He can get a mass resist no matter what.
Yeah. Hell, he could pick another tank.
But yeah,
I wouldn't pass Hayl.
So Sherry's off the table. You could pick up IBC here, and then you're definitely gonna get a good assassin out of these 4, or even out of just these 3.
I think I still favor Werner, but that's mostly because I don't think any of the other assassins are guaranteed to punch past Hayl's thick units.
Yeah, let's see.
Respectable pick. Epsilon.
Faction buff.
Yeah, Hayl's bans are pretty obvious, and yeah, he picks up Odious as expected.
This is a stall comp.
Yes, and now all ddrd is interested in doing is getting rid of anything that can threaten him. Right now, the best offense left in Hayl's box is probably Rosin Seal with Blizzard, if that says anything. So Hayl is going to get 2 healers, and he's going to be happy with his 2 healers.
I mean, I guess there's the Blizzard play where you Moby down. You hope this Christie isn't Overlord's badge, and you find some way to snipe other units. That's the offensive potential we're working with here.
I don't think that Hayl is going to think about offensive potential. I think ddrd now is clearly, I mean, if it's Omega, because he's going to be left probably with healer Landius.
Omega doesn't kill any of these units if they have. He doesn't. Even if they don't have skill, I don't think Omega. I don't think
straight up Omega kills nobody.
Yeah, like they just bring maidens. And maybe it's not a Twilight Star Omega. Come on.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
Yeah, he's
there
not.
Is an argument. You could make an argument for Twilight Star Omega because if people aren't bringing skill anyway, then Omega triples most units, even without like Insidious. But that's not really something to consider.
You're still hoping they don't have Glory of the World to begin with.
And like he still needs to crit, and yes, Epsilon helps with that, but Landius really makes that difficult. Odious has the same aura, even if you get past one of them.
Yeah, I mean Landius basically negates it. Not even any. It's 30% crit reduction versus 15% from Epsilon.
Yeah, it's still really bad. Basically, he needs a bit of luck.
But yeah, I guess you have to pick Sherry here, and then there's no. Hal's probably gonna pick up something to prevent the stun play. I don't.
Do you take Sherry?
Omega's not gonna do anything. Mariel's not Princess, right?
No, she's not, but she can hold Gospel if she needs to.
Yeah, but Mariel's Gospel is.
Yeah, I mean, there's also nothing that Mariel kills. If everything is Glory of the World, then Mariel has no offensive potential whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, if you bring Mariel, then Burn is not going to bring werewolves. That's just
like if Burn is around, Mariel is faction buffless. Mariel has like a triple-digit attack sometimes.
Yeah, so to me it seems like the only choice is Sherry, but then you just get countered by literally any of these healers prevent stun.
This is a very problematic composition to break through, and well, let's see what happens. I think I favor Hayl a lot right now.
Wow.
He takes Landius.
I gotta talk about this now. There's a really big problem with going for this stall strategy. To begin with, you're player 1, and if you want to be on the defensive side, you usually want to be player 2. He does have an act again, but still, Hal has this Odious, who will always be able to push ddrd out of the center.
Depending on how he places Landius, it might be fine, but getting that sort of timing is basically impossible, and I'd say Hayl is able to push forward a lot more effectively anyway. Plus, if she gets Sophia, then that's basically another push, and I assume he's taking Sophia here. Well, Rose and Seal is another thought. Okay, whatever, Liana, take the act again.
Once an act again to counter the other act again.
Okay, I don't agree with that ban. I think it definitely should have been exactly the other two things banned. Leaving Hilda and Sissy would have been better.
Yeah, giving Rewind to this composition seems incredibly devastating, and that's almost certainly what Hal's gonna pick, right?
It's purely just Odious, I think. If this is a Draupnir Warlock's Odious, then, well...
Pepsi just dies.
Pepsi might be dead, yeah.
If
no one else.
He can bring Nebulous, right? And does he lives then, I think? Or no?
I'm not even sure he lives that, because, like, Odious counterattacks as well.
Yeah, because he's 3 range. Yeah, no, that if you attack that Odious with Pepsi, even if Draupnir is probably enough to just kill you.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Hal's gonna pick Sophia. There's no way you get the rewind.
No, he can pick Rose and Seal if Cherry's the pick.
I mean, don't you just Gospel Landius then?
I think so, but like, yeah, I would pick Sophia. I think that's fine.
Miracle is nice. That is fair.
Sure, but like, it's fine. Sophia, as expected. This is a Hayl comp through and through. First pick Landius, last pick Sophia. This seems incredibly much him. So we'll see how this goes.
Hayl has one simple plan. He is going to move his units into the center of the map. He'll pretty much... Well, yeah, he'll just move his units into the center of the map and push up. And this ddrd has 1 DPS against... And there's just no target.
This is incredible. This is somehow a game where Hayl has more DPSs than the opponents. He has 1.5 versus ddrd's 1.
There's no way to... So Liana has to bring Sky Archer here, right?
To activate Pepsi, or...
Yes! Because it's the only way Pepsi can kill anything.
Dying, right? Unless you, like, sacrifice... Yeah. I mean, Bernhard could possibly kill Landius if things get really... Let's just see what happens. I have a funny feeling that Hayl is going to push in faster, or at least push. Bernhard kills Landius, and then another push will probably seal the deal.
Yeah, I can speak to one more thing, which is that I've tested Epsi against a 0-stack Liana, or Epsi with 0 stacks against Liana. If she brings Maidens in Glory of the World, she lives very comfortably, but once Epsilon has some stacks, that becomes a clean kill, presuming that the Epsilon crits. So that's why I was thinking that Liana needs to bring Sky Archer, because there's just no way to kill otherwise. But
yeah, you can bring Sky Archer. I mean, the healing burden's not so awful that, like, you bring just a Liana 3C and Liana Talent is probably enough to shoulder the healing burden.
Plus, you get that sweet winning strategy stack, right?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
You're not bringing that passive. Not in this
Absolutely not.
Alright, so...
Oh my god.
Oh, well, alright. That means he did bring Sky Archer, right? He brought...
What?
Yeah.
No, yeah. But sure, yeah, just...
Florentia has... well, it's the only way Florentia gets stacks, right? So this
yeah.
is a 10-year Florentia, or at least... Or maybe it's a 5-star with unique, who knows? Yeah, I don't know.
It's looking real tough for ddrd, we'll say that. Did bring the 2 guard ignores on Pepsi, makes sense. Lando's buffing.
At the very least, there's nobody who is impacted by Odious tiles, but the push is still quite impactful.
Terrain Master Pepsi is affected, is he not?
I'm pretty sure he's not. Wait, he's not Terrain Master, is he?
Zombies are.
Zombies? Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, he has the boots with the little feather. That means he's Terrain Master.
Okay, so I'm a week 1 player, and I never noticed the little wings on the boots until you just said that then.
Yeah.
So, now I know.
Lavina has them too.
Nice. Alright. The more you know.
Oh yeah, all standard. I wanted to mention that it does kind of suck when you bring Landius faction buff for pet. Oh, double faction buff. Really worried about tenure proc. I was mostly going to say that you lose that crit reduction, And Pepsi is the kind of unit where if he doesn't crit, he doesn't do damage.
Well, if at 4 stacks, it's okay, but
Yeah.
until he has like 1800 attack, he needs that crit.
Double AoE on Oldius, Thunder Dragon Breath.
That's just normal. Like, you're
Yeah.
never going to use single target, and you don't need faction buff or light array.
Yeah, just no other skill to bring, really.
There's just nothing surprising on Hayl's side. The Cav choice on Landius is relatively safe. Sophia only has one loadout that she's bringing in this matchup, or rather in general. Like, her 3C is sometimes just worse than Mass Protect, I guess.
It's fine.
I don't know. It's fine. This is a very... I'm not going to say this match is deterministic, but I'd be quite surprised if they all lost. That Christian's life is rather low, actually.
Looks like Bracer. I did also want to mention, when Landius is fighting against Christian, Landius is always going to bring Royal Cavalry. He has to. I mean,
yeah.
He can... I guess you can also bring... You know what? No, he doesn't have to. He can bring GI here, too.
I often bring GI against Christian, because I don't anticipate getting into those turn 12 scraps where the GI get worn down and Christian actually kills Landius. That's generally not part of my plan, but...
It's a complicated mental game here, because if you're the Landius player and you want to actually be able to do something against the Christian, then you're probably going to expect her to be bringing Guardian Infantry in this sort of situation, up against this Bernhard and all this other stuff. So then you bring Royal Cavs, and then it's just a guessing game between whether or not is Christian going to bring Phalanx, or is she going to bring Guardian Infantry. And if she brings Phalanx, you want to bring Guardian Infantry, and if she brings Guardian Infantry, you want to bring Royal Cavs. So how won the mind game here?
It's a coin flip. I think that Hayl has the winning team in this situation regardless. He only has one Actigen, but honestly, ddrd only has one Actigen as well, because Florentia is never getting those stacks back until the game is lost.
Yeah, I can understand why you bring winning strategy here, even if it doesn't really seem like it's going to do anything, because it's also not like Hayl is doing anything, right?
Being player 1 does favor the push into center, because now, Landius can run behind the others, not be displayed. Oh, well, that's fine as well. Can run behind the others, not be displaced, and the push is muted for a little while.
Oh, but Landius got a Tenyo.
Did he? He got Tenyo Breeze. But running ahead isn't going to help very much, because he'll just get killed by burn.
Christian, yeah, you can run here.
Oh, you can run there.
Yeah.
That's in Christian's guard range. Sure. But what happens is he gets pushed, and then everyone but Landius gets pushed. You have to move Christian, and then Burn might actually be able to hit Christian.
I mean, is it so bad if everybody gets pushed? Like...
Well, how are you ever displacing Hayl from the center?
You are...
Yeah, pretty much. So you need to occupy it really quickly.
Yeah, you're right, and you probably want to be using, like, this Crag as best you can. Like, if you can get a 3-line here, that's basically what you're looking for, right? Just you can use this as a block to try and prevent some push, and then you can have, like, Landius right here, put units in front of that. Something like that.
Landius might have to run to the furthest most center block, actually, and that's not good. I think Hayl might actually act again here. If he's confident in Pepsi not being able to kill anything, then that might actually just be the play.
There is one other thing to mention between Bernhardt and Landius. If Landius brings Guardian Infantry, then the Werewolves are cavalry-type movement as far as their animation goes. So the Werewolves will run in and engage the Guardian Infantry about 25% across the way of the field towards Landius, and then Landius will actually run in front of the Guardian Infantry as the Werewolves are fighting him, and that is just about the time...
Murdered by Burn, right?
Yeah, that is just about the time when Bernhardt's 20 ticks are coming, and Landius eats 20 Bernhardt ticks to the face, which always kills Landius. Then the only way you can prevent this is you have to bring Royal Cavalry, because Royal Cavalry are also cavalry-type movement, which will make the Werewolves and the Royal Cavalry will be to the center, and then Bernhardt ticks will get absorbed by the Royal Cavs. So this Landius is always, pretty much always dead to Bernhardt attacking him.
The unfortunate issue is if you bring Royal Cavs, you're dead to the Odious tiles, and you just won't be able to push in. So your only displacement immune unit just eats it before
the Landius just has to be and he's just expendable here.
He is a really fat roadblock. Ode to creation, very respectable.
Spread out the healing. Give another unit that can heal.
Yep. And as expected, the push happens.
There's just no reason not to do this. Maybe you clock. If you don't, it doesn't matter. It's still a good play.
It honestly doesn't matter. And at this point, I actually consider the game lost. For ddrd. Like, there's just, what does he do here? Landius dies. Yep.
Well, let's watch that animation so we can see what I'm talking about. That Landius just straight up dies.
Straight up one shot.
That Landius had about 14,000 HP. Is a bit on the weaker end.
On the plus side, Pepsi got a shield. Yeah, let's see how it goes.
As you can see, it's a bit hard to see, but
Landius starts his run over and gets hit by a bunch of sword slashes.
Yep.
And can we check how much HP that Landius has? That
14,300.
That's unfortunately very low amount of HP for a Landius. And that is that full moon? No, right? That defense is too low for full moon.
It's no buff, so it's Overlord's badge. It's Overlord's badge. It has to be.
Overlord badge, no buff.
But then how is it so?
Pretty low HP.
Is it Bracer?
Even if it's Bracer, that doesn't explain the fact that he's missing like 4,000 HP. I think it's probably red.
For Bracer missing 4,000 HP. This is pretty normal HP for Bracer, I think.
You reckon?
15,000? That's like what I see Christie used to have. Maybe Heimdall in my absence has totally changed things, but
maybe I'm wrong. It's okay.
Yeah.
Point is, Landius is dead to Balanced Blade and Bernhardt.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sorry, ddrd. You're doing your best, but at this point, you're probably gonna lose. Yeah, Pepsi's going to kill himself on probably Odious?
There's no reason to attack Odious. This is why I don't like. Well, it's good in endgame, right?
You attack Burn, and then this isn't a kill.
Yeah, I'll turn off animation. Yeah. Odious Aura.
Hold up, does he have his faction buff? He does, okay, sure.
Yeah, there's our Landius Aura,
just
one stack Pepsi.
Yeah.
And he also attacked in Burn Aura, because he has to.
Yes, he did.
He can't prevent that.
I do wonder if well, there's no way he could have had Landius Aura?
Huh?
He's just getting Sophia into place, I think.
Yeah. Just healing, I mean.
Yeah. Because Pepsi does have a second. He's trying someone else, but this isn't gonna go well.
I'm pretty sure his buff got hit. Oh no, it didn't. Just
No. It's because he had shield.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's why he didn't die from the stuff.
Fairly large amount of int on the Odious. 1,600. Pretty good.
Yeah. I know Hayl loves Odious. Just the brutal Wave Whisper. You don't get to play. And another clock. So, yeah, as we go through this, there's not much more to say from Bandit.
Yeah, as we said earlier, game was over at Bandit. So I guess we wait and see how things. Yeah, so all we see is Pepsi failing to kill a bunch of things.
Yeah,
just ddrd is going to either change his box up to AoE or. Okay, so he's adding an Archon, and that is good enough to get a first ban apparently.
Yeah, took out Lana. ddrd's box does have a quite a bit of healers, a lot more than you would generally expect. Maybe Hal didn't expect the AoE strategy to be as good, wants to go for more the pick and choose route. And again, Hal did first ban Hilda, is probably gonna first ban Hilda again. I'm surprised that Hal wasn't running Archon to begin with.
I think he just doesn't have other space for units, and he wanted to try out Lana as AoE. She's a pretty far-reaching, high-damage AoE after all.
Yeah. Plus she has her redeemers.
Yeah. Archon first ban is a little bit premature, I'd say.
Yeah, this is not the greatest Archon map, right? I mean, it's okay.
It's fine. Like, generally speaking, it doesn't really matter which map it is. Archon cares a little bit, but typically speaking, he's aquatic, he just runs through the center anyway.
As long as it's not Sky map.
Pretty much. As long as it's not Sky, and Outpost isn't great for him either, but most maps are fine. Yeah, well,
Hal
I
sticking
assume
with...
it's a Langrisser pick again, because that's just who Hayl is, and I assume it will be, I don't know, probably Christian again.
Yeah, ddrd seems he wants to play safe tank push. I mean, this is what this box entirely screams that I want to...
I like a Langrisser pick because that opens Verna, Pepsi, and Archon. I know Pepsi doesn't need... it also opens IBC, yes. And if Hayl doesn't pick Hilda, then that means he's forced to ban Archon immediately, which means you get one of those three. We've seen that Pepsi doesn't do very much, so I guess maybe it's not as great. If you get Langrisser Verna, that might be something to look at.
Yeah, with ddrd's box, Christiane's weird in here, isn't she?
She buffs a bunch of... She buffs Cherry, and she buffs Liko.
But I mean, Ligo's in this box to be a healer.
The thing is, she's a healer, but if you get, for example, Christian, Liko, and then another healer, Liko can just be full debuffer.
But there's like no other AoE.
I mean, that's fine, but like, debuffs sometimes just carry, and if last game was anything to go by, you might need a bit of that RNG.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, okay, let's see. Yeah, first pick Lando. It's a YL box, pretty heavily.
Same, no, not the same bands. Now Wetham is still left up. Christian's now. Christian's a very comfortable unit, but I'm not convinced that it's... I'm not convinced it's the right pick here. Maybe it's just not as confident as Landius is using as Christian.
But I just mean all the good DPS in this box are YL, man.
Yeah, I like... You know those tier lists that guy keeps putting out, and how Landius is always consistently a tier lower? I don't agree with that. I think Landius is actually just the same tier as the other two.
I will agree that he's not as good of a tank as Hilda or Christian, but...
Fine, but like, that's the enablers box, right? And enablers do stuff other than that. If you're gonna... Like, if Stella's there, then...
Yeah.
Anyway. Is this just another burn pick?
A bunch of assassins. Burn's decent against assassins. Yeah, it seems like another burn pick. He can be offensive pressure too.
Right.
What a...
Well, Wetham was left up. Wetham is quite good against non-Rose and Seal Christian. Bernhardt and... Who else was banned? Was that...
IBC.
Sure. So, pretty reasonable bans on both sides. Assassins getting banned from ddrd. Only the particularly non-threatening ones and Verna are left. And I think while Verna can cleanly kill Ham, it is not always guaranteed, depending on the Verna and Ham in question.
I think it generally depends on whether or not Ham brings werewolves, right?
I have killed Hams through werewolves, but I may not be... I guess most of the times I do that, I have some sort of faction buff. No faction buff Verna with no stinger is pretty questionable.
What about this Liko second pick here?
I like it. I think that he needs some RNG to push through for him, and this is probably how you do it. I think that if he can pick up some more healers, Liko should be getting Free C, Dragon Breath, and Transform.
Yeah, I mean... You just keep cutting out the AoE from Hal, and then just you need one Dark Despair to handle one AoE or whatever, Wedham's gonna be able to get this Christie down sooner or later, but at the same time, Hayl doesn't really have any single target follow-up to take advantage of this Wedham.
He doesn't, but at the same time...
Juggler?
I wouldn't call Juggler follow-up.
Well, you heal reverse the Christie, and then... But yeah, because the point is, Juggler just locks down the tank, so...
If I'm Hayl, I'm actually just thinking about the exact same as last time, an AoE push strategy, so Odious is very much on the table. Mythical buff actually does buff Wedham for whatever that's worth, and then you can hit in with
Air slash Spirit Boots Wedham, let's go. Take advantage of that range damage buff.
I feel like Hayl is not the sort of person to run Spirit Boots Wedham.
Although actually, I think Air Slash would be probably coded to be a melee skill, so it wouldn't work.
Well, either way, I think Odious is a probable pickup here, unless you're very afraid if it's Juggler.
What does ddrd pick?
If I am ddrd, I still favor the Verna pick, because frankly, it's the only thing I see actually doing anything right now. I don't know how good Omega is. I'm pretty sure Omega has extreme difficulty killing without Twilight Star. Or, does he have backstab? I don't think he has backstab.
Werner?
Right?
Werner does not have backstab.
No, Omega.
Oh, Omega does not have backstab either.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tall order no matter what.
I would...
If I'm Hayl, then I actually just want to probably consider a full AoE strat if I can.
Yeah. So so ddrd has to pick Werner here. He does... You can pick IVC, but then you're gonna lose any of the good units unless... I mean, maybe Omega plus IVC could be having. Maybe... We didn't do proper skill scouting last game, but maybe ddrd did, and maybe there's an opportunity with IVC Omega.
I think Hayl is super disrespected Omega last game. I don't think things are going to change here.
Yeah.
But it is Verna or Omega here for ddrd. I don't see another pick for him really.
Odious.
Yeah,
as expected.
So it's probably Juggler and Mariel. Yep, Juggler and Mariendel getting banned, getting rid of the AoE wombo that's left.
And you really... Juggler against Christiane, locking her down, and then Ham coming in is just... not what you want to deal with. You could pick up Mariel to deal with it, maybe, but... Yeah.
Well, you could pick up Landius and have Landius run push.
True. Yeah, you could. I think I'd rather pick Mariel, but it would be an option.
Now unless, well, Hayl's gonna pick something to immunize from Cherry, right? And then that's... Well, it's all basically up to RNG from Liko and...
We're still on our... Oh wait, are we on pick phase?
No, it's Hayl's pick phase.
Yeah,
Hayl is gonna pick either Rosen or Liana to immunize from Cherry.
Yeah, otherwise he would have banned her.
Well, I mean, if you do this, you're effectively banning her, right? Because then she's basically not functional.
Yeah, I just mean, like, if he wasn't gonna...
Yeah, he would have banned her.
Yeah.
But not like he had anything else to pick. He knows what his pick bans look like.
Yeah. Ban him out the stallers, but...
I don't understand... Oh, I guess he's a Verna faction buff. Okay, fine. Yep, so he picks up Liana here, and now Liko can be full debuff, which is not great against Liana, but you know, you gotta try.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she can get something to land. Wedham really doesn't care much about debuffs. I mean,
he doesn't, but if Liko can break rights, then Verna briefly has a good chance of killing, especially with Landius buff.
Yeah.
Landius buff with... No, it does work with 3C. It doesn't work with... no, it does work with 2C. It doesn't work with 3C. My bad.
Yeah. Sherry with... I mean, Lando has Gospel. Sherry's a non-issue. She can kill Odious with Shadow Raid. Maybe.
No, she can't. I don't think she can do that.
She can't? Okay, yeah, damn. Even with Christie buff?
I'm pretty sure Cherry will die without killing Odious.
Damn, okay. Yeah, I'll take your word for it. Act again. versus Sherry. Act Against probably more useful.
You take Liana to free up Liko as a debuffer, is my opinion.
Yeah. I think because Sherry is just. I do not see anything she can do this game.
I'm pretty sure you like not faction. You just count on Liko clocking a bunch, and hopefully that's the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Hal's gonna pick Sophia. Just
Yeah, of course.
It's rewind. It's devastating on Ham. It's devastating on Oldius. There's no answer to the push condition. It's gonna take ddrd a long time to cut through this team. Hal can dictate when he engages because ddrd has a lot of slow units. And I mean, he picked up Landius here, but it's not. I mean, Mariel? Was Mariel better here?
I don't think so. Mariel does even less than Landius. At least Landius makes your other win cons live, right?
Yeah, buffs Verner. Flo was not gonna do much. Rosin though, but it's fun. Bringing up Miracle. I was assuming that I'm going to assume that Hal picked up Rosin here just in case that ddrd did pick Sherry. That way Hal didn't specifically have to gospel Landius.
I want Hayl to bring I want him to bring Blizzard because I want to see this.
You want to see the Blizzard? I mean,
what's the answer to like so what happens? So nah, there's not enough of a wombo even with Landius faction buff. That's okay. We'll just. I mean, I think that if ddrd doesn't break through Wetham with Verna, then the game is probably set there.
Yeah, it's pretty much all gonna come down to that.
Verna 100% dies to reflect Oldius.
I guess it's worth mentioning that picking up Landius here is really nice against this Wetham, because even if... Okay, so yeah, that's the question. How does Hal even get through the tanks? He can't, and nothing dies, right?
He doesn't. He just wins with push at the end.
Does Hal bring Sky Archer? That works to give Wetham Despair stacks, right?
No.
It has to be an enemy unit. Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry, yeah, it has to be an enemy unit, right. So yeah, that doesn't work. You're never gonna get the Despair buff up, as long as...
I think the win con is push.
Yep, sit in center. ddrd can't get through. And that seems like what's gonna go down, and ddrd has to get something accomplished with Verner, with hopefully a little bit of Liko RNG to aid him.
Yeah, it's Liko RNG, then hopefully like Oldius gets... Oh my... there's a Rosen Seal there. This is not gonna work.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, Liko RNG is off the table. That's probably also part of it.
Landius is not a tank here. Landius brings faction buff, routes, and has to push at some point.
Faction buff route.
I guess Verna kills the healers slowly, and Wetham does his best, but his best hopefully isn't good enough. This is a lot closer than last game. I think this is definitely not as clear-cut. I think I favor Hayl, depending on how good Verna is.
I think one of the problems is that Wetham is actually really good in a stall game, because you can put his sword down and then guard it with your tank. And
that's so annoying. Plus, this Wetham can be extra bulky if Hayl chooses. He can bring Mythic buff on Oldius.
And so, since it's a Rosin Seal, this Liko kind of doesn't have a lot of incentive to go aggressive now, does she? So,
yeah.
So that means this Liana pick.
This is why I said that the Hilda, the Sissy bans were worse than just banning Rose and Sophia.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Sissy is doing anywhere near as much. I guess you're giving Hal double act again if you do that, but I mean, what does Hal accomplish with double act again? I mean, maybe double push?
A lot of swords, I guess.
Yeah, like, I mean, just Wetham's not getting through these tanks.
Wetham can kill... He can take lives off with this single target. He definitely can. But if he does that, then he might be exposing himself to death. So
And I don't think Hal's gonna do that. I think I would bet Hal is just going to attack with Wedham in tank range.
He's Mr. Slow Push, yes. So let's just see how it goes. Nothing out of the ordinary here. We've got Odious on Warlocks instead of Monks, as expected. Wedham has a skill I forgot he even had.
It's actually a really damn good skill. You should run it sometime.
Which one is it again? Is that Windride?
Yes, it is Windride. It's really good. It makes him take stuff. So he is not dying to Burner.
Yeah, because he never needs to teleport. The only thing teleport would do in this instance would be to possibly give him Actigens for more swords. Yeah, but that's not necessary. So yeah, Windride is neat. And
Wedham's cooldowns are so long that like having another act again to cycle them it does not matter that much.
Yeah, it was Sophia or nothing.
No ice breath.
Yeah, no ice breath. That's fine. I'll accept it.
Did actually for
Odious.
Yeah, just for Wedham.
So I expect that Odious is not actually going to use his push until... Well, he'll either use his push immediately and then only in the later part of the game, or he'll just save it until much later.
We have a full support Liko. I mean...
Liko is basically like... In this instance, she's about as useful as Elmer's summon. Like... I don't think she does anything. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I just don't.
Okay, well, there is actually one thing to say, and that is if that Liko brought Transform, then that damage buff is actually pretty sizable to her sorts, and then she could at least punch stuff for pretty decent damage.
It's not even just that. The Transform tiles do fixed damage as well, which is... I mean, maybe there's some braces on the other side, but it is more than nothing. Yeah,
I definitely think Liko needs to bring Transform here. I mean, if with Transform you give your sorts like 50% damage, they actually hit a lot harder than one might think.
Because this Liko is... I was joking, but I don't think I'm that far off. That Liko is just Elmer's summon. That's what she does here.
Yeah, Werner was faceless.
That's fine. Faceless are good if you're not Twilight's way.
Is this Bracer?
That has to be Bracer.
Yeah, the attack looks... Is it?
For nothing else. Skill.
Overlord's badge. But that HP is...
Overlord's badge, at least you just run Prisoner's Gear or something.
Yeah, that HP is low.
It's low for a bulk Werner, but that doesn't mean it's not a Bracer Werner. Actually, it's not that low for bulk Werner, like 4.5. It's fine. I mean, Liana, Christiane, we've seen all these. We've seen all this before. Same verse, second verse, same as the first.
I don't know, I just feel like heavy infantry are so much better here, but maybe I'm not that up to date on the Werner skills try or shoot.
I think when it comes to actually getting a single kill, Faceless are probably better because of the soldier damage finger. At least that's what someone told me when it came to units like Burn and Autocrado. I don't know about a unit like Wedham though.
Yeah. I just pick heavies because I firmly believe infantry are OP.
Infantry are really good on the counter-attack for Werner. Is that... yeah, it's an act again. So here...
he's just gonna push.
Yeah. He's gonna do the push. Doing it turn 1 means he'll probably have 2 more pushes if he needs them, supplemented with act agains. And he's also not at all afraid of anything attacking Odious because of that revive and the reflect.
Did not clock.
No clock is like, whatever.
Yeah, it's just worth mentioning.
Yeah. So, Wedham is... I mean, Werner can't reach, can he? He can't reach Wedham, no, he can't.
Hell playing very safe, but I'm with Windride and Landius Aura, I would be surprised, if even Double Strike kills this.
Yeah, I think that the push was to make sure that Werner just could not reach this next turn.
Yeah, and Hal just wants to get all his units right here. This is my home now.
It is his home. It is a swamp, but it is his swamp.
There's just no kill targets. Yeah, and like I said, Hal's gonna attack in range of Landius. Well, you might as well just free damage.
Yeah. Plus, as soon as Liana moves,
It's kind of sad when that's your best target.
well, 3C on the sword is totally fine, right? Because then well, as soon as Liana moves, then Christian dies, unless, well, he can move Liana up and up, but is he gonna do that? I don't know.
It's not that it's not a. It's not that it's obviously it's what you kill the situation. It's just when you're in that position, it does not feel good. I imagine.
Yeah, that's fair. Sure. And an ode to creation, and let's see how this 3C goes on Wedham. Yep, this is basically whether or not the game is over.
Okay.
Oh, well, killed.
Yeah, so yeah. It was, I mean, I guess it wasn't bad at all.
It was a fat rending blow, though.
Yeah. It's all about that rending blow. That rending blow secures a kill.
So rending blow. What's the multiplier on that?
It is 2 times.
Oh my god.
Yep. 2
Cool,
times.
right.
It's basically backstab.
Yeah, there you go. And it wasn't a bracer Wedham, so I guess that's what seals it.
Small correction. It's better than backstab because it works on targets that are under 100%.
Yes. Now, how do you kill Odious? You don't. You just kill the healers. And then eventually Odious dies.
So yeah, Werner's down for 3 turns. Christy did manage to keep 1 life. She has 2 turns to shred it. Hal can probably get this second Christy life.
No, Christiane runs away now.
Yeah, no, I mean, she'll probably be able. Well, yeah, you're right. You just run, and then Hal can't
you
reach.
just run away with Christiane, and then you heal her the turn after that. Yep. So you act again on Werner, just to get those cooldowns going.
Yep, it's just the sole win condition.
No damage. Liko can now get rid of tiles with a mass heal. Not that that's super important, but it does reduce a little bit of mobility, and goes into offense stance just because he can.
Nothing else to do there. You just no reason.
He's just gonna punch Rosenseal or something. He has a turn cycle. Oh.
So do Werner's infantry always attack with him? Right, that's a part of his talent.
I think it's just part of his talent. Yeah, he doesn't have to be in a stance. His units, his soldiers.
I think it's a 3C.
No, it's part of the passive.
Yeah.
Rending blow. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I was just thinking about maybe that would be why you run Faceless, but no.
No, that natively isn't anything. That's just the only unit that applies for is regular Sigma.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not quite a kill, but gives us a good idea of what's going on.
Did he not have a buff there? I'm curious.
Oh no, he had a buff. He just
Yeah, okay.
It was his last turn because he got acted again. But this is like a non-multiplier attack. It's not surprising that didn't kill.
Yeah.
So now we've confirmed that 3C probably does kill Rosenseal. And now that Christiane is probably going to be back up. With faction buff, Licorice can actually pound away for decent damage. ddrd is also winning the damage match as well, so...
So yeah, the question is, though, Hal is well entrenched in this center here. There's only 2 spots.
That's fine, but Hayl will kill Rosenseal, and not Hayl, ddrd will kill Rosenseal, and once that happens, things start to move, I guess.
And so ddrd right now probably really needs to be focusing on getting as many of his units towards the center as possible. You also have to consider there is 0 threat from Hal at all.
Also important to note that eventually,
Well,
if you can kill the Guardian Infantry, Christian attacking Landius is usually a kill.
yeah. This Landius is pretty bulky, or beefy, has quite a bit of attack, but...
That's Hayl's Landius.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking at it, because I was wondering what threats does Hayl have.
He doesn't have any threats. He has push, and that's his only win con.
And this is probably not Rag.
No. Every Landius in PvP these days is, what's it called?
His unique.
Whatever its unique is, it's his unique, yeah.
Defender's Memories, I think.
That one, yes.
Personally, I'd still run Rag.
I think Defender's Memories is better because that's, I mean, you run Landius to tank.
You run Landius today.
Fine.
I-
You're gonna first pick IBC, second pick Landius, and have Landius as your DPS. I see how it is.
Exactly. But we're bringing back Cab DPS Landius all the way back from like season 3 or 4 when 2 people ran it.
Like, Landius' stats are not bad. He just doesn't have any damage up, and he is not really kitted out. Anyway, I predict that eventually, once Landius gets his faction buff back up, and Werner has his 3C. 3C kills Rosenseal, 2C does a lot of damage to Liana, and then you start working away at Landius himself. Usually you leave the tank till last, but in this case I think you just leave, because he saw what happened last game with Odious. There was a Draupnir there, so
Yeah.
he's just gonna leave Odious till last.
I'm interested. It's interesting that Hal moved Rosenseal here, don't you think, and sort of let ddrd into these tiles?
I think so. It also means that when Landius has his guard down, then you don't even need to ignore guard to hit Rosenseal, which means Licorice could effectively hit Rosenseal and do a lot of damage.
Yeah, man. Imagine if you had that transform Liko, you know? Well, she can't even reach because of these Odious tiles.
Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes.
I'm just saying, like, why would you move Rosin here?
Good question. I have no idea.
Okay. Yeah, this seems weird. It just seems weird to me.
I like having the little cross shape myself if I can get it.
Yeah, that, like... Well, let's just go back and look at it for a brief moment.
Is he setting up an alternative cross shape? I don't quite understand it myself.
Because this is a really good example of how you have your opponent by the balls.
Yeah, like just hold that formation. I think you'll be fine. Don't need to move Rosenseal.
Everybody, you have everybody in one range of your tank, so you will never be unable to guard anybody. You're blocking out your opponent from reaching these back tiles.
And if they do reach those back tiles,
they're separated.
Yeah, so only Christian will be able to keep guard always up. Yeah, I mean...
Well, we'll see. Maybe Hal has a plan.
Maybe he does. So there's another mass heal. The game's not over. A push could do it.
Yeah, let's check Odious here. He should be up soon, right? Yep, 1 turn.
But he's not going to use it until the moment's right.
Yeah, he'll want to be sitting on it. You want to push everybody into fog.
Are Werner's skills up yet?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so 3C punches Rosenseal here, I think. He can't do it. Oh, maybe he moved so Werner couldn't get an attack from terrain.
Yeah, no, that's really a good point because and yeah,
But the thing is, he can still get an attack on Liana from here.
And moving Liana to this forest tile is actually a mistake, right? You want Werner to be in this tile, and then that Liana is definitely dead.
Yes, I'd say that 2C should kill her.
She might die to the 2C anyway.
It's possible. It is possible, but Landius Aura is pretty good.
Yeah, you want against this in this sort of situation, you take what you can get.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you could 3C Liana. I just don't think it would kill. Actually,
that goes.
Yeah, so this is the obvious play to go for.
Yeah.
Gets
Okay.
killed. Very nice. And things are slowly slipping away from Hayl, unfortunately. So there's an act again. Yeah,
And that
strike
should be
stance
Rosin,
back up.
right?
No, strike. Just get strike stance back up because you don't have stance right
Oh.
now.
Yeah.
You don't sit on forest.
Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot. When Werner kills with his 2C, he has to spend a turn putting his buff back on.
It's fine.
Could have attacked Landius maybe, but it's fine not to. Probably risky.
No, I like if that's EMB Werner, I like this move because get a little bit more damage. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
He hadn't moved he had already moved Liana, so I can understand not wanting to do that.
Mm-hmm. So this push does nothing, unfortunately.
It killed. Okay, it does.
Lika can still move a tile.
Yeah.
So Werner kills Rose and Seal now.
Yeah, there's no point in attacking Oldius.
No, there's no melee reduction, and then everyone starts to beat up on Landius, and then eventually Oldius will die. Did Oldius clock? He didn't, right?
Did not.
Okay,
Did not.
in that case, Lika just makes more tiles, and this is game. Yep.
Wow!
No, he's not taking
okay.
Holy Aegis. Oh, well...
Okay, but how could he's just like, I know I'm beat.
Now the Holy Aegis stack is gone, so the next time he 3Cs, it's game. So, let's see. Hildebrand as usual, because he wants Archon to not be useless. And he also wants IBC to be a threat, I suppose. I'm not sure what else there is. It also is a tank ban, forcing ddrd to pick a tank, which is mostly what Hayl wants. He wants to play the push game, because he thinks he's got bulkier units. And Archon ban, because this is a quote-unquote good Archon map. Again, I don't think there are good and bad Archon maps aside from Sky, really, but...
And even Sky, he has some stuff he can do.
Oh, he can do stuff, especially if he's paired with mobility up like IBC.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it seems like... Because ddrd first banned Archon last game, right?
He did, yes.
It seems like he's not very comfortable. I guess he knows that Hal is going to always ban Hilda, and so he wants... Maybe he's just not comfortable fighting Archon without that Hilda around. I mean, it's worth...
threats. Sorry, you going?
It's worth mentioning that IBC is also an answer to Archon. She is not as perfect of an answer to Archon, but Hal does not really have ways to counter how IBC counters Archon, right? He doesn't have Dispels, he doesn't have Buff Steal.
Because in this sort of situation, as ddrd, there's a very good argument not to use offense formation, right? Sometimes defense formation is correct.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's how IBC can counter Archon. You just put up that defense formation.
Just in case people didn't know, and people don't always know this, the defense formation prevents displacement because... everyone thinks of her as a mobility enabler, but her other formation is also pretty bonkers for no reason whatsoever.
Oh, plus if you use it with the 2C, it's just so much healing. It's insane.
And she's a healer, it's so dumb. Whatever.
Like she can heal like over 10,000 AoE heal just using 2C after in defense formation. It's insane.
This is why she's good at tank push as well, because she just has another mode. She's like Mario. Well, she's not like Mario, but different modes, just like Mario.
Hell,
she's better at both of her modes.
What if we put a Night Bloom on her or something? I'm kidding, but there could potentially be a debuff meta where that might matter, right?
I'm too big of a fan of Gift of the
Yeah, I am too, but if like somehow we get to a point where we have debuffers who can just tank assassins without any effort, I could start seeing Night Bloom on her, right?
And Ricky might make that a reality, so who knows?
Oh my.
Have you seen his aura? It's quite good.
I have not. I just looked at McLean and then I realized the Google Translate did not help me understand him in any way, but
we can talk about it later. Anyway, let's move on with this. Yeah. So Christian as usual. Okay, double healer band. He might be going for... Well, he didn't put Lana back in, so it's not the AoE all out. He takes Hilda, effectively rendering Archon pretty useless. So, it also makes a lot of the assassins much worse. Werner is now much worse because he can't crit as easily. But, well, we'll see how it goes. Hayl still has Wetum, still has Bernhardt, still has Oldius.
Yeah, Hayl just gunning straight for the healers.
Dog is good on this map, though.
Yeah,
I think ddrd, there is an argument to just go straight in as a mostly DPS comp, because the healers he has left are not particularly impactful. Florentia is good and all, but there's no faction buff for her right now. And Licorice is, if she's in healer mode, as I said, she's basically, she's not much of a unit as a healer. All she does is AoE heal, and she's fine at that, but that's all she does.
I don't know, I've just been thinking this every game since game 1. I really feel like ddrd can pick up IBC, and then just pick up a nice good unit after that, and ddrd will have a massive range advantage against Hayl's box. He'll have huge buffs, and that I feel...
Sorry, it's not just a range advantage, but he'll also have somewhat of a buffer against late game Odious pushes.
Yeah, and just, I feel like IBC has been a great choice a lot, and I'd really love this. And she's an off healer too, when Hayl has been targeting your healers. I think there's enough DPS in this box that you're gonna get something good with IBC.
Well, that is true, I agree with that.
But the stall route.
It worked last time.
True that.
Werner banned correctly, because Werner is, as mentioned, one of the threats. Is it Omega here? It might be. It might.
You got a buff.
Right? It might actually be Omega.
Even now, you can still pick IBC, and you're gonna get a great unit.
No, I don't think you are. If you pick IBC, he goes straight for Pepsi and Omega, and then you have no one left.
Archon?
Archon versus Hilda?
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Damn. Mariel. Mariel, yes. Mariel has that same very annoying game against Hilda where you gotta predict whether or not she brings Phalanx or if she brings Royal Calves. She's probably gonna bring Royal Calves, because if she does, then your Mariel's totally screwed over. And plus, there's a Christie, so she's definitely gonna bring Royal Calves.
Mariel has Amazons.
Yeah, but Mariel with Amazon sucks.
Mariel with no buff. She picks, if she crits, then she takes out Hilda's crit immunity. But then who's she killing? Especially with Amazons, like...
that's what I mean. It's just this is the matchup. Or these are the matchups against Landius and Hilda that I really feel have made Mariel fall out of favor, because
you have to pick Pepsi here, don't you? Sorry, go on with Mariel. I agree. She has
that's basically it. It's just the fact that if they bring calves, then your Highlands are screwed, and then if you bring Amazons, her kill potential in every other matchup is screwed, and she just kind of can't win, right?
He did sneak back up to viability as tank push got a little bit more formidable in the Chinese servers, but let's not overestimate her. She's still a very middling unit right now.
She's more defensive than she is offensive these days, I'd say.
It's like, yeah, when she goes on the offensive, it's a little bit anemic, and like, once she's done with her offense, she dies really quickly.
But yeah, Kira, Vernaban seems fine.
Yeah, I don't know who Kira. I guess Kaio kills a bunch if she gets a buff.
You want to bring werewolves on Ham, I guess, so you ban Kira.
Yep, let's I'd take Pepsi here if I was ddrd.
Yeah, there's just...
IBC fine, but like, there's so much that makes her, like, she has to overextend, she doesn't have a faction buff, it's a little bit... I'm just...
I got the play for you. You do pick IBC. And then you pick Archon 4th, and then you're gonna need a couple ghosts after this for some ritualistic sacrifice, but then you just need to ban Rosin Seal and roll passive seal on Hilda, and then you're good to go.
And you're gonna get that 5th pick Landius for all the faction buffs?
yeah, perfect. I see no flaws with this.
Not even one, not even once. But no, the more orthodox pick is Pepsi, as expected.
Yeah.
And the two biggest threats are gone. Omega is still there, notably. So I think in this game, the wow factor will be Omega. If Omega can secure a kill, that will give Pepsi a stack. And then from there, if some trades can happen, Pepsi will actually have the oomph to punch through some other units, including late game Hilda. I do wonder if Mariel is ever the pick here. I'd say she's actually the clear pick. I would pick Mariel here.
Sorry, I was changing my music. Yeah.
No, I mean for ddrd, I think you probably pick. Because you can't pick anyone without Rosensteel screwing you over. So Cherry screwed over by Rosenpick. Omega is questionable. Omega will maybe kill Ham. It's definitely not a guarantee. Archon is pretty neutered. Landius is a walking faction buff. Florentia might actually be the pick. Saddest. Oh no, it's Omega. Omega's got to be the pick, right?
It's one of Omega's best maps. If there is any time to pick Omega now,
True.
again we have not been doing our proper job of scouting their skills to know.
We can do it in the game if Omega gets picked. If he doesn't get picked, we don't need to do it.
True, but you know, if we could call it out, we'd look so much smarter.
Not wrong.
So, Landius, this has pretty much been how every single ddrd game has gone, hasn't it?
He has picked Landius 4th every game. And Omega is still there, so Omega's gonna get picked.
Has to. You're not gonna pick Hilda into this.
This is the most faction buffs Pepsi has ever had in any team ever drafted in the history of Langrisser.
Wait, let's do the ban. Oh, so shit, yeah, whatever. Sissy, just double act again. I guess this is ddrd's solution to Ham, at least in game 2 and 3, is that you pick 2 tanks, and then Ham gets shut down himself. But with that sort of strategy, so there's a really good adaptation here. ddrd banned the Oldius.
He banned Oldius last. Oh no, he didn't.
Yeah, he did not. He banned the Oldius, and if you're gonna play like this, you can't let them have a push condition against you that can just push you out of center. And
I'm surprised Hayl hasn't still got Himiko in box.
And this is also why I like IBC as a pick a lot, because she's also really good for getting you to the center super fast.
Yeah, that's true. I think the game is going to hinge on whether the assassins can get through Wetham. And I think the answer is probably no. I am not confident that Omega can kill Ham.
I mean, there's Hilda. There's not a great way to burn through Hilda crit aura until things get into fisticuffs in the middle. This is looking like a game where whoever gets to the middle first wins.
Let's get say that Hilda's crit aura is burned by, for example, Pepsi 1C. And then Omega can hopefully try to kill Wetham. I don't know. I
mean, then Hilda just moves after that.
Yeah, of course. But Hayl, Annihilation's gonna do a big number because there is no good healing on ddrd's side. Nothing against Liko, but single target heals have never been her forte.
Yeah.
Not against Liko. I am not particularly a big Liko fan.
I mean, if you want to like talk numbers, then she does like 8,000 AoE heals. Liana heals like Liana and Florentia, and they heal about 10,000. Florentia obviously has battle support after that, and then Liana has her talent heal plus up to 3C, so really Liana with a single target heal can heal like around 15,000. So the good single target healers are looking at about being around double Lika's output.
But I think that Ham is going to be a problem here, and that Ham will eventually eat his way through at least Landius.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's a slow ass game, dog.
This is a Hayl game. This is a 1 DPS triple healer game.
I mean, yeah, Hayl does have double act again.
No, he's not gonna pick. He's not gonna pick Rosen. He's gonna pick Landius for the range damage reduction.
Plus route.
Yeah, plus route.
Just that's what Hilda and Landius should actually be here for. They should both just bring push skills, and you should just both just shove everybody out while you just sit there and keep acting again. And
Well, but the thing is that you can, like if you're DDRD, you have 2 tanks, so you can set a situation where nobody is ever unguarded. So basically, Wetham has to dispel guard in order for your rams to ever hit anybody and actually ram. Because otherwise a guard just guards the ram, right?
yeah, true. I suppose as long as DDRD is up on the positioning. Okay,
Well,
yeah.
Landius is 1 turn of downtime. Anyway, let's just see who gets picked. I'm predicting Omega and Landius. So let's just see how it goes.
Yep.
Unsurprising loadouts, Royal Cav for both Landius and Hilda. Oh no, that's not Leviathans.
Oh, okay. I can't pause. One moment. I sure love that they've introduced this glitch.
We can do speed commentary. So
No.
Omega has not got Leviathans.
No,
we don't need to. Oh, all right, fine.
I
But
can't.
Omega not.
We can't look at the skills.
I don't think there's going to be too much strange about the skills, honestly. I think it's probably going to be quite predictable.
I do too, but it's
Yeah, fair enough. For appearance's sake.
it's good to
I
be
think that-
comprehensive.
No Leviathans is decisive and is probably going to cost DDRD the match.
Huge mistake.
Yes. Maybe he doesn't have them built. I think that's not unrealistic because Leviathans are literally an Omega plus HA unit, and not everyone.
If you don't have
Omega,
if you don't have Leviathans built, do not put Omega in your box.
I think that's probably correct. Omega is almost like a water unit at this point. I know that sounds stupid, but I also think it's pretty close to being true, right?
Yeah, no, like his by far his highest output is with Leviathans, and those can score
On
him
water,
kills.
right?
On water, and those will score him kills that he will almost never get otherwise.
Because people forget how much damage of Omega's comes from his troops. Like,
Yeah,
Omega himself is only fine. He's nothing special. It's not like he's double attacking or anything. But his troops, they just get to completely plunge themselves right into your opponent's heroes. And troops are OP in this game, you know?
yeah. And see, we do get to point out something. This Christie brought flower formation. There's nobody that cares. There's nobody that
only magic damage, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is also range damage, but there's no range
But
damage.
Landius is on the team, and his aura is better.
Yeah, actually, DDRD has been doing that, bringing flower formation with Landius. There we go.
That should be fallen petals then, or it should be an attacking skill.
Or even a command. You have
yeah.
you have several options. When you have auras, you do not bring flower formation on Christie.
That's okay. Like I'm definitely not going to be someone to berate someone over skill choices. Omega.
It's not berating. It's not berating. Let's be clear here. It's just
it is feedback, and like these guys are in round of 32. I died in round of 64. I can't talk, but I think that in the heat of the moment, it's easy to make those mistakes. I do think Omega should be defaulting to Leviathans, and he correctly brings a attacking skill. I think Cold Blood plus Lone Shadow is pretty worthless in the games that Hayl likes to play, where he just pushes forward.
Creamy Mommy in chat also mentions that Omega could bring archers for the weapon.
Yes.
But oh wait, let's look. Yeah, this is a max skill Omega. Okay, this Wedum does get tripled. If Omega brought archers, this Wedum should be dead.
Yes.
He does have
That's
Wind
good.
Ride.
I was about to say that gargoyles aren't necessarily a pick, but I forget. Wedum is a flyer, and that is just not relevant very often.
But yeah, it doesn't even matter because with Knowing Strike, the Omega's skill cap will be about 666, and yeah, it's very easy to know. It was 666 a while ago. It's actually a bit higher than that. That was before Thor and stuff. Nonetheless,
So
it's enough.
Wind Ride is probably going to stop the kill if it's not Leviathans, I think.
Or archers.
Or archers, like Firebrands or whatever. Dark Elf Sniper.
Yeah. He doesn't have Firebrands. Dismiss.
Dismiss is... Yeah, I mean, Dismiss is always good in these long slog games if you've got multiple healers. Dark Dragon Breath, but still no Transform.
Transforms really good on Liko, man, even when she's the healer. Just, it lets her actually punch stuff for, you know, actual damage. It's pretty nice in endgame.
Plus, you have a full faction buff team. I don't think the Mass Protect is actually doing anything. Like, what debuffs are there on the other team?
Yeah, it's like just for refreshing tiles.
There's nothing to contest your tiles either.
Yeah.
I think I like Transform, Mass Heal, and 3C Heal.
Yeah. That's what I would bring. Yep.
I'm not a Liko user anymore, so maybe I'm just straight up wrong.
No, that's exactly what I would bring.
That's my consideration as well. God, I hate this guy's voice. I'm so glad Ricky just straight up makes him impotent.
So is Ricky Epsilon?
Yes, why not?
No, like seriously.
No, he's not. But,
Okay.
I'm gonna continue maintaining that he is, because that's funnier.
Okay. Just for buffs, putting that on Wedham. I mean, nothing's dying anytime soon.
I feel like piffing a bunch of gems at somebody is not actually going to raise their morale in any way. I guess if you're really poor, but Wedham's like a Ryu type. He just walks around the world wanting to beat people up.
Well, it's an investment. She's giving him some gems so he can buy some buffs from the buff store.
That seems pretty like she should go and buy some NFTs or something.
I just wanted to look at the debuffs, but it doesn't matter because it all
Liana just heals them all off, and Wedham has Ode to Creation on him anyway.
And plus, like, Liko transforms so good for cycling your one attack skill or whatever.
I think it's not that great because you never really want healing tiles in this sort of matchup. There's just no AoE on the other side, so I think you always want to keep in evil tiles. But you're right, in a pinch you can cycle things like
yeah.
Well, see. So here is the moment of truth. Will Omega kill Wedham? I am not convinced he will.
He can't reach, right? Or oh, sorry. Yes, yeah. He can't. Yeah. I just moved right there. Well, this Wedham has Windride. He did snag up the defense buff. Liana put the gospel.
Pepsi's gonna attack first. Wait, has Hilda moved?
Hilda has not moved, so yeah, you cannot prevent the anti-crit. Hal is being very mindful of that. That's a good catch. The point is Pepsi attacks. As soon as Pepsi attacks, Hilda moves. Her crit aura is refreshed. That way, you cannot crit the Wedham.
Maybe you don't attack Wedham. Maybe you attack Sissy or Liana. I don't know.
He can triple any unit he wants. But in my experience, Omega does not kill Shrine Maiden healers.
I think that you want to soften them up with Pepsi
especially not
first.
without Deadly.
Yeah, soften them up with Pepsi first, and then if because this forces Hayl to move Wedham rather than Hilda, and then Omega can get the kill.
Okay,
if not healed up to max.
It's not a bracer, sissy, but it still could be the fixed immune, but it has to be the fixed immune accessory, right?
A meditation ring?
Not
Heart of Redemption.
Yeah, either one. It doesn't really matter.
Because
if not,
Pepsi has to 3C Sissy or Liana here.
I do not think he will kill Liana. It's Glory of the World Liana.
Oh no, the idea would be to Pepsi and then Omega, hopefully.
Yeah, sure.
Well, because Wedham has Sword, and when he uses Sword, the healing doesn't go away, so that's 2 turns of healing. So that's whatever. Let's see what happens. This is not gonna go well.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is there's no way you ever kill Liana.
No,
you might kill Sissy, so you attack Sissy. Look, goes with Omega first, and yeah, as I said, in my experience, Omega does not kill Shrine Maiden healers.
And now there's going to be 2 rounds of healing, because that's completely fair and balanced. Annihilation, this should just kill Landius. Or not, very close, good enough. And now, yep, you try and probably won't work out. Yeah.
That's not even with. Well, it's 3 blocks for his damage reduction, so plus 30%, plus wind ride.
Wasn't that was that 3C on Pepsi? Yeah, it was
Yes.
3C. It wasn't even onslaught. But now he can try onslaughting again, I guess.
Yeah.
God, that. But now there's both wind ride and sword.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying with the initial Pepsi attack. That's 45% damage reduction plus Last Rites for 85. Well, no, not Last Rites, Twilight Star. Right. But yeah, still.
Landis is there, and Hilda's stopping crits, and he's gonna get healed to full. Let's see what happens. He has to attack Wet Him here, though.
He
No?
attacks the sword. There's no way you kill the Wet Him, so I understand. Like, it just does not happen.
But now there's super no way you ever kill Wet Him.
Rock in a hard place, what can you say? Oh, man.
That's, it's been a while since I've seen a sissy summon actually kill something.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Like at least killing a tank. Like, damn.
It's funny.
Well, Omega's gotta get something done.
Well,
if he had Leviathans or if he had Sky Archers, it'd be a dead Wet Him.
I guess that is ultimately what decided it, as we predicted. Damn, Cav Hilda. Doing work.
Good against Christie.
Christie is now dead.
That's why Christie really needs to bring Phalanx against Tilda, by the way.
Licorice is doing her best. Desperate measures. This will kill Christian. No, it won't. It'll break a shield and it might kill Christian. I'm skeptical. It'll kill Landius. Oh, you can't reach Landius. That's
yeah,
fine.
it is.
Yeah, it doesn't kill Christian, but close enough. And now Landius can not make it in because he has Royal Calves.
So what's the capital looking like here? Both sides have all their units. Hal has a significantly better position on the center.
Hayl's got this. He's about to kill Christian. Landius has effectively no health. His Hilda is full. His Landius is full.
Landius has no revive, or is...
Landius is...
Yeah, he
Landius
lost
will
his...
die to most of the things on the board except infantry summon.
Why doesn't Landius have his revive? He didn't get killed, right? Oh, he got killed. He got killed by the infantry, right? Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. And now Christian dies. Doesn't matter who kills her.
Dead to Landius' calves.
Yeah, I mean, Cav still got those bonuses. Now Landius, no, not Landius, Liko dies. Doesn't really matter. Liko doesn't die, but again, it does not matter. The game is lost.
Yeah, werewolves against Holy. It's just... There's nothing ddrd can do.
He can kill another sword. He did not choose to kill another sword. That infantryman hit Omega and didn't die in response. That's funny.
Yeah, because not EMB, right?
No, well, it wouldn't be, but like, even with that, infantryman is like not a very strong unit. He's doing his best.
Yeah, he's doing his best. There's not much more to say about this.
Infantryman finally dies. What a valiant effort.
Elite
now,
mercenary.
Yeah, unfortunately that will probably be the end. None of Hayl's units are dead, and it looks like ddrd is slowly dying with no tank.
Yeah,
He's dead. Omega has he was defanged the moment he engaged without Leviathans, unfortunately.
Even Archers works here, but preferably Leviathan. I mean, I can actually see arguments for not running Leviathan still, but on this map, there's just so much water. It's so easy for Omega to find a place to hit you from water, because Hal is gonna have to come to the center sooner or later.
I reckon if a few things had changed, then ddrd might have had this game. If, for example,
if Ham dies, it's just over, right?
not necessarily, because he still has to get through the healers. and he would need to have brought Phalanx on Christian, as you mentioned, because that
Yeah.
way Christian never dies to anything. And then Landius presumably doesn't die very easily, even after Ham engages. Once Landius has 1 life left, he's still not going to die. And eventually, because you have advantage due to 4 versus 5, you'll be able to engineer a situation where Omega followed by what's his name, Epsilon, kills a healer, and then repeat that.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but that's also going to take a really damn long time with these double act again healers.
That's true, but eventually it'll happen.
Yeah,
And
eventually.
even if it doesn't happen, you'll win on damage. Although it will be difficult to displace Hayl, I think that after that, it is favored for ddrd, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it all stems from just Ham not dying. If Ham dies, ddrd has a chance. Ham didn't die.
And Christian needed to bring Phalanx to deal with the Royal Cavs.
Yep.
Well, that was a really good try from both sides, I think. Never easy. Especially games where people play unorthodox builds like how Hayl played it. So I think that well played to both players, especially in that second game. I did think ddrd was favored by a little, but I didn't think it would be so clear cut after the Verna kill.
Yeah.
Whereas in game 1, I think Hayl won pick ban by an overwhelmingly large, what would you call it, margin?
Yeah.
But it was much closer in the other games, and I think that in that last game, had the skill and unit choices been a little bit different, things could easily have been the complete opposite, and we might see ddrd advancing. But as it is, congratulations to Hayl for making it through to round of 16, right?
This would be, yeah, this was round of 32.
Nice. So, congrats to him. Hopefully he goes far. Hopefully he actually plays matches this time, because I remember in playoffs last season, I think he got a bunch of buys or something. Or maybe it was TSdL, I don't remember. Anyway, his box is always really interesting to watch because it's so markedly different from other people's, and I think that is a really great thing about Langrisser. If you're good enough at the game and really have your own skill set down, you get to play the way you want. So, congrats to him, and hopefully he goes far.
Yeah, House stands by his firm tank push play in a meta where most people would say tank push is no longer the predominant strategy, and he's been
I think it's not predominant, but it's still pretty prominent.
Yeah, I was still prominent, fair enough. But yeah, congratulations to both.